Welcome everybody, we are back here at the LCK 2019 Spring Split. It's going to be Afreeca up against SKT, a huge matchup to end the night. I'm Valdez, with me is Papa Smithy today on this beautiful Friday afternoon. We had a good first game, Sandbox taking out Gen D in a surprise 2-0 upset. I wonder how this second match is going to go, Papa.
And that's the thing is, what do we know for sure, Valdez, about any of this damn LCK Spring 2019? The surprises keep coming. Afreeca makes their long-awaited debut, the 10th and final team to re-debut at LoL Park. SK Telecom T1 of the established org, the only ones that are doing any winning. It's been all the newcomers that have been winning recently, and SKT want to keep people away, but Afreeca Freaks have a lot of talent on their lineup, and I think this one should be a really finely poised, potentially 3-game best of 3.
Yeah, I mean, don't sleep on Afreeca. A lot of people saying they're really strong right now, even stronger than their roster may suggest. UCal in the mid lane especially is popping off. You also got Keen up in the top side, and Dread, this really aggressive jungler coming into the lineup. We'll see how he does go along with those two solo lanes. But either way, guys, here are the results, the standings so far. Sandbox, funny to see them up on top, tied with SKT, who did win their matchup 2-0 as well up against Jin Air.
KT, Kingzone, Jin Air, Gen.G, these are the teams with pretty lean results in Afreeca. Where will we classify them? Because it will be a statement game for them to beat SK Telecom T1, take a win away from the Dream Team. They lost to Griffin 2-0, but we can't really hold that against teams too much, with Griffin looking like the runaway favorites so far for LCK Spring. I just want to get into it and just see where Afreeca are at, because as you know, Valdez, Afreeca are the team that annoys me to no end. I love researching. I love getting in there and saying, all right, what's this team playing? Do they stream? No. Do they play solo queue? No. There is no way to know what they're doing until they play it on the Rift.
The biggest annoyance, but something that a lot of people call their biggest strength as well. A very deep roster, multiple different teams. They just practice in-house all day long, and they get a lot out of it, no doubt. We'll have to see how this lineup does up against SKT, the new Dream Team. Here, SKT looking good so far, but Afreeca not going to be an easy opponent.
KT 6할 선수가 갔다는 얘기도 듣고 미드만 바뀌었는데 젊은 피로 바뀐 좀 그런.
소문대로 정말 열정 있는 친구고 뭐라 해야 될까요? 똘끼?
기인이랑 우칼이 핵심 전력인 것 같긴 해요.
유칼 선수가 이제 팀에 들어와서 미드 탑 그런 중심이라고 말씀들 많이 하시는데 시간이 지나면 조금씩 더 합이 잘 맞아서 강해질 것 같아요.
기인이 형, 이번 시즌은 행복롤 하자.
저는 기인 선수 되게 가장 잘하는 탑 중에서 한 분이 아닐까 싶을 정도로 되게 잘한다고 생각해요. 기인 선수도 저를 그렇게 생각해줬으면 좋겠네요.
잘하는 선수? 뭐 딱히 표현할 말이 없네요. 2대1로 이기거나 질 것 같아요. 이유는 그냥 경기로 보여드리겠습니다.
감사합니다.
페이커 선수는 이번 시즌이 정말 좀 준비 많이 올 것 같아서 가장 경계되고 잘하는 선수라고 생각돼요.
고마운 것 같아요. 그렇게 말해주면 나름 재미있을 것 같아요. 저는 유칼 선수가 자신감이 항상 넘쳐서 누구에게도 지지 않는다고 생각을 해서
우상을 꺾기에는 아직 너무 짬이 덜 찼어요. 짬이 덜 찼어. 한 2년 뒤에 꺾었으면 좋겠습니다.
뭐 역시 가장 기대되는 팀이라면 SKT인 것 같고요.
처음부터 엄청난 강팀을 만난 것 같아서 살짝 부담되긴 하지만
무난히 넘겨내기만 하면 저희 팀이 잘 풀릴 거라 생각하거든요.
이번에는 저희한테 양보 한번 해주셨으면 좋겠습니다.
대영이 형, 개막전부터 우리한테 1승만 딱 넘겨주고 시작하면 딱 좋을 것 같아.
1승 내드릴게요. 그럼 저희 2승 주세요. 2승 1패로 저희가 이기겠습니다.
드림팀이라 불리는 기대만큼 열심히 좋은 경기로 보여드리겠습니다. 화이팅!
드림팀을 출발 드림팀으로 만들어버리겠습니다.
이제 뭐 탑, 미드, 정글, 바텀 어디 하나 피 튀기지 않는 곳이 없을 테니까 이제 경기를 집중해서 봐주시기 바랍니다.
Well, I'd say that Khan is right. I would expect every lane and every position to be a bloody matchup. It's going to be a hell of a fun game to start this one off. Afreeca versus SKT. And the trash talk only adds to the hype as we get to this big match.
But you do notice that one of the main trash talkers is not there. That is not Spirit in the jungle. Twinkle, formerly known as Twinkle, now known as Dread, is the new jungler coming through for the side of Afreeca Freaks. I had the chance to speak to Spirit about him at the Kesper Cup, and he said, damn, is this guy aggressive. So he is there to start facilitating some of those aggressive invades. I think he'll be very similar to Canyon, who we saw pop off on Camille and Kha'Zix and other picks. Afreeca Freaks are a young lineup of players who want to grind. These guys play an insane amount of scrims and internal practice. And all that practice after that 2-0 loss against Griffin has been waiting for today.
Pretty much all full up here for this matchup. It's funny that you mentioned the aggressive junglers. It almost feels like we have more aggressive junglers than passive ones here in the LCK for this season, which generally makes for some really fun games. So very happy about that. Clid not to be left off of that list. Going to be going up against Dread, the battle of the aggressive junglers there in that matchup. A huge cheer as SKT gets announced to come to the stage. The Dream Team looking to add another win to their standings so far.
Despite having 9 members on the roster, the Dream Team we know is 5 members and 5 members only. Clid has maintained his spot, and Clid and Teddy, to me, have been the most consistent performers so far on the Dream Team lineup. Faker has had his moments, but also has had some little mistakes. Last we saw on that Urgot engage, for example, last time out, and Khan has struggled a little bit. Khan versus Keen. It was a hype matchup in 2018. It still is now, but even more than last year, you kind of give an edge to Keen.
Yeah, it certainly does feel that way, and definitely part of the reason why some people are saying that Afreeca actually have a decent chance to win this matchup. You look at SKT, you look at their Dream Team lineup, you say, hey, it looks like they should be able to take this one, but Afreeca not going to go down without a fight. Impressive top lane, super strong young mid lane as well in UCal. And I even heard some of the guys in the back talking about aiming being one of the better, if not one of the best, 80 carries here in the LCK. We'll see if he lives up to that title.
Can aiming go from being a capable 80 carry to matching Teddy and Mata in lane is a very different assignment. I feel like bot lane is the one that SKT is set up to carry from. And if SKT follow previous trends, don't we know what to expect? Lissandra Urgot in the first round, counter-picking bot lane and trying to win through that and some decisive pick engages from, say, Lissandra or Galio and Urgot. That's how you think about this game. But Afreeca know exactly how SKT have drafted basically every game. They've kind of been a carbon copy. So if we see the same SKT, Afreeca Freaks should be well-versed in how to potentially counterpick some of these traditional SK Telecom T1 picks.
Hey, you mentioned the picks, and that bottom point there is the big one. Nofe up against Team Coma is the way they put it. The smart drafting, we already saw some earlier on today, which is cool as the meta develops here in Korea. Can't wait to see what these two guys have to bring to the Rift tonight.
Nofe versus Coma used to be Rocks Tigers versus SKT. Think about Misfortune support and some of the other crazy stuff that happened in that matchup. Now Nofe, not the head coach of Afreeca, we know that is I Love Uv, the StarCraft pro gaming god. He's still there, but that's above. That's the more removed role when it comes to drafting, when it comes to in-game stuff. That's going to be Nofe's purview, and it's not going to be Coma directly. We can see him in the back. We'll probably try to catch him with the coach cam if he's trying to yawn or anything else. It is, of course, going to be Zephyr, the drafting coach of Afreeca Freaks previously. It is Zephyr's first game against this old organization.
Really excited to get this one underway. You can see all the players there that are not in the booths. They're right on stage. You can see what's on their screens as well. I was watching UCal practice in the practice tool, and by God, that guy has a fast mouse hand. He has some of the best mechanics out of all the mid laners that we do have here in Korea. Let's see what he plays in the mid lane. Lots of tank mid laners, but even in that last matchup we had, we can see that that can change from matchup to matchup.
There is definitely some defining points of the meta, but there's so much room for experimentation, and so far in LCK Spring, to the bold have gone the victories. The teams doing the crazy stuff, as recently evidenced as our first series, Summit, and the rest of Sandbox Gaming, they've so often been the victors. So, Will it be SKT innovating, or will Afreeca Freaks have something new to show us on their long-awaited debut?
Well, we all know what this means. It's time for pick and ban for game number 1. Afreeca is going to be on the blue side. SKT going to join us on the red, starting off with the Victor ban to get this underway.
That has been the go-to pick for Khan in solo queue, and also when his Urgot is ripped away from his hot little hands, so no Victor top lane gonna happen this time. Cassiopeia, obviously the tier list ban. I wonder where the tier list will be at, because we saw Lucian actually slip out for the first time in the LCK in our first series of the night. Tom Kench ban. Until that loss in game number 1 for Genji, Tom Kench was basically picked every game and was undefeated. Finally, it has been defeated, but will not be claimed by Mata.
Lucian this time not going to be seeing the light of day. Had one win in the counter matchup as they swapped it last second to mid up against Galio, but then did not go well in the second matchup for Ruler, and Lissandra going to be the last ban here on the side of Afreeca.
Afreeca could be looking to first pick Urgot here. We know Yukal plays in the mid, played at KT Rolster at the World Championships, and Keen, you know, I'm going to give him faith that he can play Urgot. No worries about the Urgot pick there as a flex. If you're wondering about Dread, the jungler here, it's not a rename of Spirit. This is a new jungler, came from Challengers Series. This is a guy who plays ultra aggressive. There's aggressive junglers, and it feels like every good jungler is called aggressive. And there's Dread, who's known for Kindred and other out-of-meta stuff, and for basically always finding something with a skirmishing advantage. That could even be the Aatrox, as the Aatrox 3-way flex is locked in for Afreeca Freaks.
Aatrox, a ridiculously strong pick, not just because he's a strong champion, but as you mentioned, the flex. You can put him pretty much anywhere, and that means that the Urgot will go the way of SKT alongside one other champion.
This was Casper Cup. You'd think maybe Galio Urgot first round. They were first rounding on the red side, their solo lanes pretty exclusively. The Urgot part is no surprise. Faker or Khan going to be piloting that one. One more clear to lock in for his team here. No real need to claim a jungle. In fact, jungle meta is picking jungle very, very late in the draw, so they're going to go support. The Tom Kench defensive option ripped away from Mata. Seems like he's engaging. They pick up the Rakan first round on the red side.
Yeah, the Urgot makes sense. They can't exactly put all their eggs in the Galio Rakan basket. Urgot just a little bit too strong, which means that Afreeca on the other side can easily pick that one up. Looks like they're going to do that. We have a new flex for Galio, was played in support in game 2 of the first matchup, so suppose it could be there, but probably not. Still just a really strong pick.
Hey, you got to mention the stats when they're important. Elise support undefeated, Galio support undefeated. LCK 2019, baby.
Oh, no.
As the Camille left open. Camille also a multi-way flex. Previous Afreeca Freaks support Tucson played it in the bot lane, but Camille Galio engages a guarantee for the side of Afreeca Freaks. SK Telecom T1 looking to round out their first round. Could take an entire bot lane and start banning bot laners. Could also take a flex champion. Let's see what they want to pick up here for SKT.
Xayah, just to make sure they have that Xayah Rakan for the bottom side, is going to be selected for them. So they have the flex of the Urgot, which means that the solo lane and the jungle remains for SKT, whereas a bottom couple of champions remain here for Afreeca. Ezreal, super OP on this patch, is going to be banned away.
So with Camille, Galio, and Aatrox locked in, we think we know the top side of the map for Afreeca. Like you mentioned, there's no 100% nature to that anymore, but we think we know what to expect there. We think we know that Clid will probably lock in Lee Sin this game. Sejuani is available, but the Lee Sin also has some decent options here, and it is Clid's ultra comfort. Will Afreeca ban away a jungler is something I'm interested to find out. As in the second round, bans sent to the bot lane and some of the traditional AD carries that Aiming has played in the past.
Takeaway strong stuff, Aiming kind of that, you know, pocket player, I suppose. Definitely a lot of strength in the top side. People tend to forget about Aiming, but certainly has his own power. Akali making it all the way to the second ban phase is kind of funny, but other big tanky picks for the solo lanes were picked prior to that.
This would be Jungle Gragas, very likely. Khan has played it in the top side, but they already have the Rakan, so we know it will not be a support Gragas. And look at this, a last second flex. This is a jungle Elise they're being considered here. Now for Afreeca Freaks, I actually wondered if Vladimir would be the lock-in here because they already have Camille Aatrox and they have a wombo comp already. Vladimir, if you can get through laning phase, is great, but there's no Vlad Tahm Kench option. So you wonder how you can get away with a Vladimir against Zyra Khan. They're really considering a lot of different ideas, Afreeca Freaks. Marksman will be the more reliable choice because the laning phase could be tricky. They will finally settle on the Sivir. Unlikely to find a support that makes this lane too easy. You can consider the Braum to try to halt the Feathers. The Alistar will be the riskier choice, and the Alistar for just the god comp of Engage on the side of Afreeca. Sivir starts shouting, and everyone else is clamoring to go for hard Engage.
Gonna be a fun one there for Jelly. He didn't look too confident about the pick.
Hey!
Oh, baby! Okay, Fiora comes out here into the lineup, and you could look at that for the top lane, but Fiora versus Galio, also a thing we've seen before. We'll see where these picks line up.
And every SKT fan would have been clamoring for Khan to return to one of his two legendary carry champions. They are Jace and Fiora. His Fiora God status was locked in for Longzhu Gaming. Will this be the matchup? Fiora versus Aatrox. First time I would have seen this match in professional play. Like you say, they have till 20 seconds, and Fiora versus Galio has been a pretty traditional mid lane matchup in the past. We won't see it here. It will be much more the comfort for Khan. Very excited to track this on the top side, and also two ganking junglers will probably be hightailing their way top side to try to impact a carry versus carry matchup.
Fiora definitely one of those champions that feels a lot better if you can get ahead early on in the game. Fiora's from behind struggle to find really any lane pressure to go for that split push, but oh boy, you take a look at this composition.
Oh.
It's balls to the wall. You're not going back with this kind of comp.
If they get a control ward advantage and you walk in front of anyone, at best, Sivir's shouting. At worst, 5 people are on top of your model, instant killing you. So much lockdown. However, what did SKT take from that? Fiora, that's not a grouping champion, that's a splitting champion. That hasn't been the impact so far of Khan on SK Telecom T1. They want some King Zone and Longzhu Khan in game number 1 of this series.
Well, guys, it is time. Game number 1 of Afreeca versus SKT begins now. Afreeca always had a pretty strong fan base, but here in Korea, nothing really stands up to SKT.
Loving the
Speaking
skin
of which.
choice right there.
Yeah.
SK Telecom T1 Elise being worn by Clit. He didn't earn that skin, but he's on SKT, so you get to wear the stripes when you have made it and picked up the jersey. Amy's got some pizzas he's happy to throw out. We're talking about pizzas a lot in our first series, but
Yeah.
not quite as literally as with pizza delivery of Sivir. And you'll know, Valdez, that I'm a really big fan of Sivir right now. The laning phase against Zyra Khan's actually pretty tricky. The timings on your spell shields aren't always clear, and the feather interaction with the spell shield can be irritating. But Sivir's buff was way bigger than people give it credit for. The ability to hit 5 members of the enemy team for equal damage has propelled Ezreal's ult way up to god tier status, and the same is true for what Sivir can do with her Q. The 600 CS win condition is there, but the early game hits harder than ever before.
Really does. We've seen some nice Sivir plays so far, especially with the spell shield timing. I think that was Zenit on the side of KT. He was just right on the ball with those spell shield timings. We'll see if aiming can live up to that, as it was pretty impressive, but can't wait to see Clid on Elise against Dread on the Camille. Definitely a couple of champions that can get really aggressive here in this matchup.
Only real issue with Elise in this meta, and one of the reasons why she was phased out is not necessarily direct nerfs or item reasons, but the game went from level 3 ganks being the god tier to level 2 ganks, and that is the one area where Elise does fall away. She is very much level 3 centric compared to Camille, who just like Pantheon is ready to go at level 2. But now at least we haven't seen too many level 2 cheese ganks be pulled off. Dread's top side, but he's spotted. They started on the opposite sides of the map, so the jungle pathing between two very aggressive junglers is going to be a treat to follow.
Dread spotted on a ward, spotted by the Ghost Poro, and it looks like he knows that because of the Poro. He's just going to go ahead and take the Krugs away on the top side of the map. Seems like they have a decent read about where Clid is as well. He's just down here going for his own scuttle, so they're going to trade them in the early game at least.
Does feel like the blue side vision has been to guarantee camps to the Camille, whereas the red side vision's been to spot. So they've actually been, for different reasons, a information advantage to SKT in the early game. Not going to be wielded just yet by Clid, but he won't be surprised to see that his Raptor camp's going to be, at best, a little bit less chickens than he's used to.
Unfortunate timing for him, actually, the Galio pushing in the Urgot in the mid lane. UCal versus Faker in this matchup. Clid just going to clean up as many of the Raptors as possible, as you were talking about. Also, all the Krugs weren't taken. You can see that dot is left remaining up in the top side, so also a little bit annoying for the side of Clid. Dread living up to his name, getting aggro, already counter-jungling quite a bit.
Early game, not going to be where this lane is going to shine for the Fiora, so understandably going to be kind of left to the whims of Keen. In terms of where the priorities are at, definitely top and mid early game, I would give the advantage to Afreeca, and Camille's jungling around her strong side, so that part you can definitely understand. Bot lane is the strong side for Clid, so for now at least, it seems like the junglers are observing the tendencies of the Dross they've locked in.
Clid, interesting path, starts red, comes down, takes Scuttle, cleans up Raptors, and then makes her way all the way down to the bottom lane. There is a ward in the brush.
A fresh ward as well. It's just
Yeah.
placed because they know that Clid is playing bot side. Nicely done by, I'm going to assume it was aiming, but not 100% clear on that.
Looks like it. It's on cooldown. A team decision. Got to put down those wards. Backing on it right now is Mata, so feels like they're just memeing a little bit right now, but we'll see if Afreeca lets them go. Looks like they will.
It's actually a really good move because if you suspect there is a ward there, remember Zyra can't have that dual recall possibility, so it's a very easy way to force the enemy's hand. They can't know for sure the ward was there because there was no reaction at all from Jelly and aiming. So now they can keep the ward there for the maximum duration, and there was no tell to the side of SKT that there is a lane ward from Afreeca.
Yeah, it's really nice. I mean, Sivir, famously very fast at pushing, is able to deny nearly an entire wave down on the bottom side to Teddy and Mata, who just now make it back to the lane.
Seeing for now at least Dread. He's chilling, waiting for the Rift Scuttle to spawn. Top side, happy side for him.
Aggressive control ward placement. It's a brush that doesn't always get checked, so can be a little bit tricky. You can get that down relatively early. And looks like Clid isn't even going to go into the Scuttle Crab location right now. Perhaps doesn't feel comfortable enough. Is just heading up towards the Krugs for now.
No next levels just yet. It's all been pretty calculated so far. Junglers playing on their strong sides. No one really veering into dangerous territory. The junglers have kind of been ships in the night outside of, meeting at the enemy Raptor camp there that Clid found Dread with his hand in the cookie jar a bit. But no successful ganks for the Camille just yet. She definitely has the earlier ability to impact the lanes. Let's see how Afreeca plan to play around the bot side, because Camille Galio is the reliable engage, and sending everyone bot lane is always something you want to do with a Galio.
That you do, but at least the Zyra, once they hit level 6, can be tricky to get on top of and gank, especially that Teddy does have heal. We saw that be a factor in the first matchup with Peanut going too deep onto a Kalista with heal and not able to pick up the kill. So we'll see if SKT can play around that kind of bottom lane party gank.
And one thing we'll learn from this is where SKT's communication is at, because that's been the one thing we've wanted the most, right? Who's the shot caller? Who's doing the dominant voice? When they've been interviewed and asked about it, they say, oh, it's some pretty diplomatic shot calling. And when you're winning, diplomatic shot calling is usually fine, right? Just in general, when you're winning, shot calling is a little bit less under the microscope. The reason why I say in this game shot calling is important is not so much that Afreeca Freaks are predicted to be a strong team. It's not even paying lip service to how good Afreeca was in the past. It's the unique variable SKT have is the E is a bit short there from Faker, but think about how SKT win this game. It's largely around the split push. It's largely around Fiora in the 1 and the 4 of SKT not being engaged upon by a cavalcade of hard engage on the side of Afreeca Freaks.
Whoa.
Clid and Dread.
That was a close one. Feels like both these junglers really hanging around mid for large periods of time, just waiting for ganks that they expect could happen, but no one has really found each other until that moment where the Cocoon goes wide onto the Camille. Camille level 6 before the Elise, and now he's getting aggressive with red buff here, trying to get the smite, and it looks like Clid just going to give it away.
Exactly as Yukal was in range as well. He'd already dodged the laning phase, pushed into Faker, and guaranteed he would have first rotation. So very good communication there between Dread and his new mid laner in Yukal. But again, coming back to where this game is going, no one can be caught. Speaking of getting caught.
There's the flash, and Faker in a ton of trouble right now. The easy first blood goes the way of Dread. Clean Camille gank for the first blood.
And Valdez, it's so reliable, so many different ways to engage like that. Communication will have to be pristine, or in the late game, one pick might thwart any split push from Khan.
I mean, Faker not even going to blow any of his summoners. He knew he was dead. The second the Camille lands that one, he had to flash first. Otherwise, he was pretty much boned. And even then, might have been a kill. So nice little play there by Afreeca.
When's the right time to flash against Camille Galio? Before, to be hell away from them. It's kind of the only good answer there.
It's now.
Exactly. Could have tried flashing then. I think he still would have died. So
probably
really good, no good time to flash. He goes down anyway. Good gank from Afreeca. Took a bit of time, but you see the coaching team there of 4, Vinyl Cat, Yon, Nofe, and head coach I Love Ove all understand that that's exactly the sort of practice they put in. It comes up on the stage to first blood.
Clid here in the top side. It looks like Keen has a good idea that something's up, especially because Khan is trying to bait him into a fight right now. And so Clid's gank not going to come off here just yet. He's been waiting for quite a while.
Isn't it fun that Afreeca versus SKT, as things stand, is also a bit of a clash of ideologies? We'll hold the point for a bit as Clid is so desperate to make this gank work, but not been able to find anything so far.
It's hard, too, because they don't really have secure vision up in the top side. Control ward here by Keen. They don't know exactly where Camille is. Whereas Afreeca seemed to have the perfect read that he is up in that brush. So,
and that read is founded on practice. Again, the reason why I say clash of ideology is SKT have gone for the big names. They are a team that streams a lot. They have a big streaming contract. You know, the money and the prestige that all brings. Afreeca doesn't scream and hides everything. So no scrims. So no public information at all, but here in the mid.
Oh boy, it's time to trade a kill as Galio is going to be put into death chamber by the Urgot. Nice follow-up play there by Faker and Clid to win a kill back to their team.
And still were able to play around the tendencies of Yukal of the past. Nicely done in the mid lane there, and it means 1-1 between these two squads. It could translate into a Drake. Remember, Elise always going to be pretty expedient in making that one happen, and aiming and Jelly, when it comes to early priority, are the weakness of this Afreeca draft.
Seems to be that way. Up on the top side, we return to Keen versus Khan. Another one of these highlight matchups that we were looking at so far. No kills there just yet. Very even on farm as well. So looking good for both of them so far. Cloud Drake picked up here for the side of SKT. Good to deny that, I suppose, up against Afreeca's full engage comp.
And if you ask me right now, whose position in the game am I liking more, I'd definitely say SKT's, because Fiora is going CS for CS with the Aatrox, and eventually will be a level 16 Fiora, and we all know how that goes. Really nice execution on the mid lane gank, just as on point as the one we saw from Afreeca moments before. But that's the current game state. Fiora is doing better than expected, and the game otherwise is largely even. It's all about mid-game execution in this game. The catch versus the ability to play 3 lanes, and honestly, just play the Fiora lane. If you wield Fiora to its full extent, SK Telecom T1 should win. If you use the engage on Afreeca's side to the full extent, Afreeca should win. And it's always these games where you have very differing goals that I enjoy the most, because it's so clear at every moment, after about 25 minutes, who's ahead and who's behind.
Certainly very cool. And the Rift Herald's here picked up by Afreeca. Nice little win for the side of Dread, able to start that one up. I suppose they knew that Clid was going to head back, and he was in the base while that was all happening. So even if they did have vision, probably not much that SKT could do to follow up on that one.
Mada's had a very long leash because of the Zyrakan advantage to get very deep vision on to, say, for example, the red buff. You can see Camille lit up at the moment. CDR boots the rush here. More grand entrances, more ability to look for that pick CC. Rakan's already squishy, and getting a Ninja Tarby or a Mercs isn't going to change it.
He'd need a lot more items to, be a tanky support. Not really what he's about. We'll see if the follow-up on his engages can be there. Decent amount of follow-up, I'd say, with the Elise Urgot, but outside of that, not too much.
Can Fiora get away with first a scaling champion and then a scaling item purchase in a pretty late cull picked up by Khan? We already laid the table setting on where we thought this matchup was going, and the cull picked up around 10 minutes is a double down on that. Khan is looking for the late game. Afreeca have overwhelming ability to burst in the mid game. Mid-game starts about now, Valdez, and that's why every time Galio leaves lane, everyone on SKT's side gets the hell out.
Yeah, I mean, you were talking about it in the early game. It's Galio Camille. You have that engage with Alistair in the bottom side. Look at the red side jungle of Afreeca. It's lit up like a Christmas tree by SKT, playing very safe around that, making sure they don't get ganked. But how about a Rift Herald for some extra gold in the mid side? At least both Klid and Mata are there to not allow them to get any more than just a couple of plates.
That trade looked pretty good for the side of Khan as well. So Fiora doing way better than expected. It is Grasp Fiora, if you guys are going to move your attention to the top right of the screen. So ability to take bone plating or some extra sustain options has allowed him to do very competitively in this lane. So that's the learning for me here, is that Fiora is able to go CS for CS with a top lane Aatrox. Wonder if we'll see more of it, or if it's just a specialist choice for Khan.
I mean, you think about it, you have the riposte to deal with all of his stuns that Aatrox has in his kit, and you're ice skating, right, away from all of his, AoE abilities essentially, and the lockdown. So
if we weren't casting, I'd slap you, Valdez, because you have a riposte for a million different types of annoying CCs, knockbacks, knockups. Aatrox is really damn annoying to deal with. I don't think the single riposte should be enough. So I think this is more about execution by Khan, who so far has been playing this damn clean.
Yeah, he looks good. You can certainly dodge a lot of Aatrox stuff. He's made it look pretty easy so far. Went for the early Ninja Tabi as well. You need that movement speed to deal with that kind of champion, so feeling pretty good. That one ward that Dread keeps getting spotted on means that Faker has been pretty safe afterwards.
Gotta say, the vision in general, we liked it at level 1, spotting out the enemy jungler, and a lot of spotting. They continue spotting now.
Nice cocoon here, should be flipped over the back. Flash is here for you, Cal. Gets the stun into the combo, doesn't even bother to get that one down, and Faker able to land it, gets the kill to Gallia.
And man, wards can turn to so much. The wards in the early game allowed Elise to stay away, and 2 kills now on the mid lane through really good synergy between Klid and Faker. This is good to see, but here we go.
Well, they spot them coming in, aiming, taking a ton of damage, has to flash away from that one. Mata makes his way in with the grand entrance from downtown, and Dread in so much trouble now is going to be taken up. Nice follow-up cocoon here onto Jelly. Doesn't look like they'll be able to get much, but SKT so much room on the map. Even Teddy's pushing the bottom lane.
Exactly. This game's going to hell in a handbag so quickly here. They tried to make an aggressive pick, but the moment that the Boomerang Blade missed, they weren't going to have enough damage to turn. All of SKT is backing up their mid lane jungle duo. A Drake, turret damage, all to the benefit of SKT.
Everything feels good. Mid lane, a couple of very important ganks by Klid here onto UCal. Bottom lane, because of that rotation, able to get a big win. They take out the first turret down there, and the second Drake as well. And then the top lane we were mentioning, Khan just winning that lane. It feels going very even on that Fiora who wants to scale.
This deep ward that you see UCal now pathing over spotted Camille a moment earlier. That helped Faker not die. And then also was the reason this kill was academic for the duo of Faker and Klid. Really intelligently played. This is the crafty veterancy we want to see from a squad like SKT's. So many other big names have been on the losing side in LCK Spring so far. But you can see the in and out of game practice has been pretty on point by the side of SKT. And now we get to the worrying side of the coin for Afreeca. Remember, all those kills came in while the Galio ult and the Camille ult were available. If you fall far enough behind in gold, and right now they're not behind in gold, but there's the potential for that to grow at this point in the game with some outer turrets down, then maybe the Wombo doesn't kill people and Fiora is split pushing, and that's where you just straight up lose the game if you're Afreeca Freaks.
I said it in the beginning, Fiora feels a lot better when you're winning the game, and already going even feels like winning the lane. And you can see that even Keen isn't confident enough to even fight over the Krugs. I mean, Khan is just owning him in that sense, and now he's got a red buff. So what can you really do? Keen seemingly having a very hard time in this lane. Love bringing back the Fiora for what would be a very hard lane. We're going to have a big engage, though, trying to get on top of Mata. The Blasting Plant, though, knocks Dread out of the Hextech Ultimatum, which gives him the room to get out. That is huge to keep them safe as turrets go down on the other side.
All calculated for SKT, and meanwhile, Afreeca are all at sea. They're trying to turn on to Faker, but I don't know if this is the right call.
Dread, he is so squishy as well. He has that stopwatch, which is going to save him, but Faker and Mata going 2v4, going to win the fight.
Meanwhile, Khan's under the inhibitor turret at 18 minutes.
There's that one riposte in the grand entrance. He is going to go in and hop his way out. Doesn't want to overcommit underneath the turret, but you could see how this Fiora matchup is just looking so good.
It only gets better and better, and that's not even with the Cull cashed in. The Ching is going to be massive the moment he has that. Speaking of Ching, Teddy pushing up, getting damage onto this outer turret in top. Everything's coming up SKT in the first 19 minutes.
Dream Team looking good so far. We'll see if they can keep it up here. It still is only 4 kills in 19 minutes, but there has been so much other action that puts SKT in the driver's seat for this one. That Camille Galio combo, we saw it a couple of times, and honestly, it's not doing much work for Afreeca so far.
A lot of our long-term viewers will remember how we talked about TF Ultimate in the metas, where TF was really powerful. It's how good is the first Destiny? If you mess that one up, maybe the next one doesn't matter. The Camille Galio duo of ults is pretty much the same, right? Very long cooldown, but the most guaranteed impact. You're showing up with 2 people with good burst damage. 9.1 Galio, he blows people away and then some. But if it's just not being used because the timings are not there, because the warding has been so on point by SKT and so deep, they've never actually found the chance to wield all their wombo combos, and both in the skirmishes, which haven't been dominated by Camille Galio, and also in the 1v1 by Khan, everything's come up SKT, and now maybe it doesn't matter if they find the picture-perfect Galio engage.
20 minutes ticks, and SKT already setting up vision around the Baron. It looks like 2 or even 3 control wards already are down, just to make sure that Faker can push down this top turret, as well as begin to pressure in there. The Xayah Elise combination pretty decent at taking out that Baron pretty fast, at least.
3 winning lanes in CS. Things looking good for SKT. They control the pace of this game, but will we see a desperate engage? Because it already feels like the next one from Afreeca might be necessitated in the next 2 to 3 minutes.
Jelly forced ultimate, just a bit of a wonky positioning there. Shouldn't have even been in range, but get hit by Cocoon. Has to ultimate and now go back with a recall. So even more map pressure given over to SKT with 1 swift move.
This is Jelly, the man who stood behind Tucson for all of 2018 and 2017, finally making that big starting spot onto Afreeca. Always awkward when you're in an Alistar game and you're unsure if it's time to headbutt, pulverize, or disengage. Ends up just wasting his ultimate with no gain at all. The Sivir Alistar lane, lack of control there, is one of the contributing factors to Afreeca really feeling like they're being pulled in every direction and not finding any wins in any of them.
Yeah, nothing really going right for them. At least the Camille hasn't died so many times. Only once in this game. Really just has been the more effective ganks in the mid side by Clid. The first one, super clean, gets the first blood over to Dread. But after that, it was all the Clid Faker show to win that lane. And how about a 3rd Drake, a 2nd Mountain Drake as well, to just speed up that Baron to even higher highs. SKT going to be pretty happy with that.
Would love to go back and do a VOD review of the early game warding. To me, the warding in this game was the real MVP, because they anticipated so much based on no information. They didn't even know the tendencies of Afreeca. No one can. They show nothing when it comes to public information, but they both read the draft of the enemy team and just had a very next level read on the game, because the safety by which they've been able to open up this goal lead is what should be commended. This hasn't been explosive, it's been calculated.
Clean stuff from the beginning, other than just the 1 death in the mid lane, which was pretty unavoidable for the situation that he was in. It's been really clean stuff from the side of SKT. Definitely good news for them after they did go down to Dom 1 Gaming in the Kespa Cup. A couple of eyebrows were raised and saying, hey, what's this about? I thought they were the dream team. I thought they were going to win Kespa Cup, maybe face Griffin in the finals, and then that would be, you know, a close matchup. But go down to Dom 1 Gaming. But they'll be happy to say that they look much better here so far for their first couple of matches of LCK.
And the biggest data point for me is it's with Khan on a carry. It's with Khan not on Urgot Lissandra kind of duty. He's very much on, again, he's even away from the rise. He's on something that can attack lane and scales well. Dread dives in, doesn't find anyone. Hookshot on cooldown.
Righteous Glory by Faker. They want blood as Dread even has to flash away from that one. After hookshotting really deep into the Baron pit, gets away, but loses a lot.
The uh-oh items are there now for the Fiora. Trinity Force and Ravenous Hydra are completed. Very, very difficult. Maybe impossible for Keen to outplay the Fiora. She's also about to crest level 16, and the ult scaling is going to be relevant there as well. So right now, everything is coming up SKT. They are in a wonderful position in this game. Now, they've been in a similar position and lost. You'll remember the game where Mata was everywhere on the Alistair, and they felt like they had an unassailable lead and went on to lose against Dom 1 Gaming. This time, it feels like they're a lot more on point, especially with their macro plays and their rotations. So SKT fans will hope history doesn't repeat itself there. They have so many different things they can do. They send Fiora bot. The question is, how the hell do we deal with this Fiora? They get the deep vision down. SKT don't have any worries about being hit by a wombo combo. So in so many different ways, they should be able to trade up. Anything less than extra turrets or a Baron is probably a misfire based on the game state right now if you freeze it at 24-30.
Perhaps they needed more pressure in the top side to shut down this Fiora, because you were mentioning that cull that came in late. It's part of the reason why very far ahead in gold now is Khan and feeling pretty good. Jelly now looking for an engage in the zero vision jungle for Afreeca. They're really struggling to find anything here.
One of the few comps we've seen that can actually use sweep as well. They have an Elise who's very elusive. Baker is unkillable. Rakan can jump over walls. They can actually clear vision better than most comps on this patch. Is under turret. Seems like Khan misjudged that one. Don't worry, guys. He's got Ravenous Hydra. Next minute.
Oh, there it is. Mata finds two. The Galio comes in, but Alistair goes down first, and they're looking for Dread as well. Keen and Khan both TPing in, but already two members of Afreeca are down. UCal trying to do his best to fight up against Khan. Goes for the flash here on a Faker. But it's not going to go too well, as Keen is going to be burst down. Could even be an ace, only aiming with no room to even DPS is left alive as SKT take out 4.
4 kills for 0, no deaths at all. SKT play that perfectly. Like we mentioned, with their sweepers, they can clear vision and actually make a proactive pick at 24 minutes around inner turret territory in mid. They have a lot of Baron damage, but a lot of squishies here. They'll trade tank it down. They'll get the Baron, and SKT open up a huge lead in game number 1.
Wow, and now you got Khan on
no.
Fiora with Baron, and unbelievable pockets filled with gold right now. He hasn't even gone back and bought right now. He's probably going to pick up a third full item when he does. Let's take another look at the fight, though.
Watch the replay here. It's all about the assertive picks you can make when you have a control ward lead. The deep teleport in the mid lane is always going to be turned upon by 2+ members. They just kill the closest target. Everything lines up for SKT, and now in the 1, in the 5, in the catch, SKT have nothing to worry about. They have what feels like an unassailable lead in game number 1.
Khan even joining for this team fight. It was half over by the time the top laners even got there, so feels much better for Fiora in that sense.
Grouping Fiora is either the game is over or the game is over, and this is definitely the latter, as this is the joyful time to queue up, do about 1,000 damage, and watch your Xayah. There's just no threat onto her because, unfortunately, people are exploding in front of the SKT duo lane.
Third Mountain Drake means that Fiora is basically untouchable. Feels unfortunate to say, but definitely has the feeling that SKT have this one in the bag. But more importantly, just how clean it was. A lot of people talking about how good Afreeca is right now based on what they've heard. But in the first game here, SKT have certainly outplayed them to a great effect.
What we've seen from SKT was one single style they played a lot of times, and you never know how to apply Occam's razor to that. Are they playing it because they think it's the strongest, or are they playing it because that's all they can play? And People, depending on whether you're a fan or a hater, will always look at it one way or the other. That's why I like to see it and say, yes, in 2019, Khan can still load up on the hard carries and make it work. We weren't sure. He's been very out of sorts for the better part of 6 months. Baker chases in. He wants Jelly.
Yeah, Jelly, kind of unfortunate right now, is going to have to ultimate after the Fear Beyond Death does land onto him, and nobody wants to go near Khan.
Nope.
Triple Mountain Drake, see you later, turret. As a couple of them will go down here, Khan and the rest of SKT pushing for that win.
And when does Khan start seeing 3 bad guys and trying to outplay? That's going to be the icing on the cake, as there's the Sivir ult.
Well, they got to make something happen, and they want Faker. He's so tanky, though. Keen just pops almost there on the backside. Jelly as well, super low. And Khan into the backside onto Dread. He's super low, but it doesn't matter. Double kill goes to Faker as Afreeca fall apart like a house of cards. And SKT going to easily take the victory here in about 28 and a half minutes.
This is going to be a slaughter from the side of SKT. Excellent performance from them from level 1, from the smart wards they put down. The vision led the way, the players did the rest, and well-deserved victors in our first game of the series.
Mop the floor with them in game number 1, and the hype is real. We're all filled up here at the LOL Park. Lots of SKT fans going to be ecstatic with the way that game number 1 did go in the favor of SKT.
And it's with that swagger, the macro swagger and the micro swagger. It's the way they did it that should now to let us know that that calendar circling of the 31st of January seems pretty damn justified. Griffin versus SKT will be on the final match day of January. It can't be soon enough, Valdez, because it's great to see this Game 1 performance. And if SKT can back it up, maybe we do have 2 runaway hype trains to open up LCK Spring 2019.
Yeah, Damwon Gaming, a strong team, able to best them in the Caspa Cup, but SKT showing that they can defeat a couple of teams that they should be better than on paper here in pretty easy fashion. We'll have to see how it goes into Game 2, though. We've seen teams look strong in Game 1 and then drop the ball twice in a row. KT. We'll see how SKT does in that sense as we do move along here. I don't know who I would give the MVP to in this one. I feel like it was more of a team effort from the side of SKT.
I agree with you on that one, but I'm just loving stepping back and enjoying. We're at LOL Park. It's full on a Friday night. The hottest ticket in the world is watching this Afreeca SKT series. Afreeca have always had it over SKT through many different rosters. The Afreeca org over the last 3 years, the only one with an extended winning record. Can't count Griffin as just a single split. An extended winning record, the only established org is Afreeca. I want to see Afreeca bounce back, but I love that SKT, with a different identity, had just the tonic with the Fiora split push comp.
I mean, they let the Aatrox go through. It's not something that we see very often, and they just said, hey, we have the answer. And it's Khan on Fiora, it seems. Looked really good in Game 1.
But you look at this answer key here, and you appreciate that SKT gave up a kill, because otherwise it looks like they're the spoilers, Valdez. The only thing they lost in this game. A single kill, and I believe the Rift Herald went the way of Afreeca as well, not reflected on this. That's the way you don't get caught by a teacher. You get one wrong.
Yeah.
Got a couple of small ones wrong, but when it came to the main things, the A+ definitely deserved.
96% still feels very good from the side of SKT. Excited to see what happens in game number 2 as well. I mean, I think Afreeca could turn it around as we do go into the red side for them. But guys, we are going to take a quick break before we do get to game number 2 of Afreeca versus SKT. We'll be right back.
I'll wait for Valdez. Let's see if there's any changes. Are we going to see Spirit in the lineup for game number 2?
Definitely a big question there for sure. Spirit, another old man that we do have here in LCK. Would love to see him show his face. Maybe some Jungle Karthus would be also really fun to watch. But we're going to have to wait, guys, before we do get into that matchup. We'll see you in a bit.
20살. 그것은 치열한 전투. 우리를 억압하는 모든 것으로부터 우리 자신을 지켜낼 뜨거운 혈투. 그게 바로 20살 우리의 캐리, 우리의 버프. 우리은행이 내일보다 더 빛날 20살 우리의 오늘을 응원합니다.
This is for those who dare to stand up, for those who dare to make a difference. Get ready for battle and join the Republic of Gamers.
이 혹독한 훈련에서 살아남은 의자만이 CDG의 의자가 되니까. 때론 지나친 고집이 정말 좋은 것을 만드니까 의자가 인생을 바꾼다. CDG.
네, 드림팀이 정말 맞다는 걸 증명하고 있습니다. SKT 화끈하게 첫 번째 경기 가져갔는데요. 메란님 어떻게 보셨나요?
이번 아프리카 모든 기대가 좀 모여들었는데 초반에 갈리오 카밀로 이용한 양사이드 압박을 주는 그림을 봤는데 오히려 SKT가 미드를 집요하게 파면서 경기를 가져온 게 굉장히 인상 깊었습니다.
네, 사실은 아프리카가 최근의 경기력이 기존의 캐스파컵에서도 인상적인 부분이 있었고 또 젊은 신예들과 노련한 코칭 스태프와 함께 그림을 이제 잘 그렸다는 소문이 많이 돌아서 아프리카에 대한 기대치가 높았었는데 SKT의 이름값 높은 선수들이 생각보다 빠르게 지금 뭔가 합을 맞추고 하나된 움직임을 보여준 거다. 이게 좀 저는 굉장히 인상적인 경기였습니다.
네, 매 경기마다 다른 모습을 보여주고 있는 것 같습니다. 경기 초반에 미드에서 앨리스와 우르곳으로 연계되는 그 킬이 상당히 인상적이었어요.
네, 어느 순간부터 상대 카밀의 움직임을 완벽하게 읽은 SKT의 설계가 일품이었는데요. 사실 이런 거는 언제나 와드 하나에서부터 시작되는 경우가 많아서 그 부분을 이렇게 페이커 선수가 미드를 넘어가지고 와드를 살짝 봤는데 사실 저게 옆에 있는 블루팀 샤를 안 보여요. 그래서 저 와드 하나 때문에 저 모든 카밀의 움직임을 다 SKT는 알고 있었습니다.
그러면서 이제 마타 선수의 백업이 이루어지고
카밀이 빠지네?
네, 빠지네 하면서 이제 봤는데 이제 방금 타이밍이 갈리오가 대포를 먹으려는 타이밍이었거든요. 이제 완벽하게 서로 플래시를 이용해서 킬을 획득하는 장면이었습니다.
실질적으로 저런 시야가 있다는 것을 아프리카의 드레드 선수는 몰랐기 때문에 카밀이 만약에 갱킹을 먼저 간다 하더라도 이미 그걸 보고 있던 마타와 클리드에게 역습을 당했을 거거든요. 저 위치의 와드에 대해서 아프리카가 미처 예측을 하지 못한 게 굉장히 좀 크게 스노우볼이 굴러갔던 것 같아요.
네, 그렇게 스노우볼이 굴러가던 와중에 또 비슷한 장면이 나오고 말았습니다. 어떤 장면이었죠?
네, 나중에 바텀과의 어떤 호흡을 통해서 또 킬을 만들어내는 게 있었는데 여기 와드를 또 박았어요.
네, 그리고 이 와드를 통해서 상대방이 카밀 무빙을 SKT가 확인을 했는데요. 이대로 바텀에 가는 무빙이 보였는데 말이죠. 근데 여기서 SKT가 하나의 수를 던집니다. 악한 자야가 안무빙을 하면서 오히려 갈리오 궁을 유도하면서
그렇죠.
궁을 쓰는 이제 갈리오를 낚아채는 모습이었는데요.
네. 저때 강가시아가 아예 없었거든요. 아프리카 블루팀 입장에서는.
네.
그래서 앨리스 우르곳이 저기서 갈료를 잡기 위해서 기다리는 게 아니라 아마 라칸자의 움직임 때문에 이미 용을 따라서 뛰고 있다고 생각을 했던 것 같아요. 그래서 부랴부랴 유칼 선수도 라인을 지우고 바텀 합류를 위해서 걸어가고 있었는데 아니나 다를까 SKT 바텀에서는 일부러 연기를 해준 거고 오히려 갈료를 잡으려고 여기서 이제 클리드 선수와 페이커 선수가 기다렸던 거죠. 두 장면 모두 다 공교롭게도 저런 위치에 어떤 적의 사각을 찌르는 와드를 통해서 만들어 놓은 거라 모습이라서 굉장히 인상적이라서 저희가 한번 그 부분을 준비해봤습니다.
네, 연기력, 이 자야라칸의 연기력까지 뛰어난 SKT였습니다. 이번 경기 모두가 잘해줘서 사실 MVP 뽑기 좀 힘든데
네.
예상을 해보면요. 뭐 메라님이 한 분만 말씀해 주시겠어요?
저 같은 경우에는 이제 갈리오가 상대방이 있기 때문에 페이커 선수의 압박감이 좀 심하지 않았을까.
네.
페이커 선수를 뽑긴 했거든요.
삐뚤림은요?
서포터 편 안 들어줘요?
마타 선수도 굉장히 잘했는데 그래도 이제 키를 획득했으니까.
네. 삐뚤림 예상.
선수보다 하나 된 오더가 저는 일품이었다고 생각을 하기 때문에 사실은 이렇게 빠르게 좀 그림을 만든 오더를 한 선수, 어느 선수인지는 모르겠지만은
네.
그 선수가 있다면 그 선수가 MVP를 받는 게 맞는 것 같습니다.
네, 알겠습니다. 자, MVP 확인해 보시죠.
네.
야.
충분히 이해가 되죠. 네, 충분히 이해가 되는 게, 그 어떤 그림의 반전이 만들어진 것도 카밀보다 뭔가 앨리스가 빠르게 움직이고 카밀을 봉쇄하면서부터 시작된 거였거든요.
네, 항상 우르고 이제 페이커 선수와 뭔가를 만들어낸 게 항상 클리드 선수였기 때문에 여기서도 이제 대포를 먹기 전에 이 타이밍에 정말 쓰기 힘든 타이밍이거든요.
맞아요.
바로 믿으면서 키를 획득해냈습니다.
네.
사실 바로 어제 경기에서 앨리스가 약간 재미있게 서포트에서 소화되는 모습이 나왔기도 했었는데 과감하게 전멸까지 쏟아부으면서 확실하게 킬각을 보는 게 결국 앨리스에 있어서는 가장 중요하다는 거를 이번 경기에서 클리드 선수 중심으로 SKT가 잘 보여준 것 같아요. 그래서
네.
앞으로도 이 앨리스 특유의 킬각에 대해서는 많은 팀들이 유의해야 되지 않을까 이런 생각도 듭니다.
네, 정말 있어야 할 곳에 그때 딱 그 순간 있었던 앨리스였습니다. 자, 클리드 선수 축하드리고요. 저희는 두 번째 경기 만나볼게요.
We're back here at Lowell Park after that stomp of a first game. SKT making it look easy. The warding, the plays in the lanes, everything was clean. They were Mr. Clean, basically, in game number one. Really good sign for SKT fans as they face a really strong opponent in Afreeca. Now the question is, can Afreeca strike back?
Stunning performance, no other way to put it. Really good stuff from SKT, and backing it up will be interesting because now you're on the red side as Afreeca, and my question coming into the draft when we get there is, who's getting 5th pick on the red side? Because that was the Fiora that unlocked this strong draft from SKT. Does Khan get one, and does Keen get it this time against Khan? And how do you interact with that potential? Because we haven't seen 5th pick for top lane really at all. In the recent meta, I can't think of it much in Casper Cup or in the LCK so far. Jungle's been picking up a lot. Sometimes you use it to lock down a support or an AD carry to double down on bot lane. Khan has always been a player on the red side you had to fear because of 5th pick. And cool to see that even with the meta teetering kind of towards tanks becoming the norm in many different roles, you still make it work. Good to see a pocket draft from SKT. And now, what is the pocket draft from Afreeca on the red side?
It's definitely a big question that has to be answered as we do jump into the draft. Even Sandbox showed that they can bring some creativity into their pick-bound phase, as nothing is truly figured out just yet. There's no super solid standard meta just yet for 9.1 that we're playing on. But this is another big, shining light on the side of Afreeca. Spirit, their veteran, makes his way back into the jungle. Perhaps they're looking for more direction from their jungle player to bring them back here for Game 2.
Game 1 draft, we have to note, was a very much it was working until it wasn't kind of draft. That's what happens when you go for wombo comps, and we definitely did see Dread caught a couple of times. I think Spirit will give them a very different edge. I imagine he'll be more on Sejuani duty, more on tank duty. Of course, in the past, he's played those aggressive picks, but my inkling is that Dread is there for ultra aggression, and Spirit will be oscillating a bit more towards the defensive side of the jungling.
Or he could just play jungle Karthus and we'll have a ball.
Exactly.
He's definitely someone that fits very comfortably into the tank role, though. A little bit better, maybe some smarter, more passive, more leveled jungling, you could say, from the veteran here. We'll have to wait and see what he does go for. You mentioned the red side. Who knows, maybe even a Karthus flex could come in. He could go into multiple different lanes if they really wanted to go into that one. I'm really asking for the Karthus, but we'll see if they do reach that far for a pick that hasn't really been seen too much, at least here in the LCK.
It is definitely the scaling choice, and with level 6 junglers being mooted by many different teams, the level 6 choice might be the right choice. Maybe the Nocturne, for example, is a more realistic farming option for the side of Afreeca. Freak's a very famous pick for Spirit, but one that also has been played by Clit in the past No Nocturne lock-ins so far in the LCK, but I believe some bans already in the last couple of days. Ready to zoom in there. I imagine some last-second settings things happening on the Afreeca side. A couple of snacks. I think you deserve a snack there, Khan, after your strong performance in game number 1. But in a start to the LCK that's been dominated by the Young Guns, it is nice to see Spirit back because he didn't even get a single look in.
Yeah.
The quick 2-0 in the Casper Cup means this is his first game since the end of World Championships last year.
You zoom in here on Mata. The Zyra Khan picks you mentioned in game number 1 were very smart up against the kind of disappointing Sivir Alistair that Afreeca eventually landed on, and his Rakan was clean. The one thing I also really love about Mata's support play is that he always seems to hang around the mid lane right when the timing is right. We saw that a couple of times in game number 1 as well. So we'll see if Afreeca can read into that and somehow come back as we do jump into pick and ban here for game number 2, this time with SKT on blue.
How does that impact their bans? Cassiopeia, Lucian, Irelia were the bans on red side. Irelia was the final one. We're going to see Irelia as first ban in game number 2. Obviously a bit more bookkeeping required to ban away the OPs on red side for Afreeca Freaks this time. Very likely something's going to slide into the draft. Tom Kench, for example. Can Afreeca find a way to ban that on red?
Could be hard. We'll have to wait and see if they actually do go for that one. The Lucian is going to be banned out here. We saw that second ban by SKT as well. Nobody wants to see Lucian, at least in this one, after our first match of the day.
First pick, Urgot, feels like it's already locked in. We're doing a faker here and seeing the future and imagining it being locked in. Waiting to see what SKT will choose. Final ban here on blue side. Not really any target bans you have to think about too much, but they don't feel like they can pull off the Fiora hijinks now with Aatrox being played and with the red side being occupied by Afreeca. So that makes sense. They will ban away Aatrox themselves, so probably no Fiora is the fallen effect of that. We already talked about the Urgot prediction. You don't need to be faker and see the future to know it. Urgot first pick, the heavy expectation for SKT.
Just makes sense. You can put it in either top and mid. It's going to be super safe. It's just so nice and tanky, has kill potential. It's a great pick right now. Galio, the obvious answer nowadays. We're not exactly prophets here at this point once it gets into this kind of a predictable draft, but the Tom Kench comes out pretty early.
I like the Tom Kench a lot here. I think it was almost 100% Ezreal Tom Kench for SKT. You love to go for poke options against an all-in comp, and Galio's already a good sign that an all-in comp is on the way, so love contesting the Tom Kench. Normally for Afreeca, you felt cheapened when you saw the Tom Kench because Tucson on Tom Kench duty was a great engaged player who would often suffer trying to play the Tom Kench. Now it's Jelly, now it's a different look, so you can feel better about the pick, and SKT give the confirmation of, yes, we really wanted the Tom Kench.
Would have been so good to have it in this spot, but instead they will pick up the Braum as they are expecting some engage, I suppose. Pretty nice with the Ezreal as well. Can hop forward, get the stuns onto the Tom Kench. We'll see what happens.
You feel a bit damned if you do, damned if you don't about Camille in this spot, because otherwise it's Ezreal, and you know how slippery he can be. But if you do lock it in, it's risky. It's a first-round jungle Karthus. All right. Now, of course, this could be bot lane Karthus. This could be aiming playing Karthus, and he was one of our awesome dudes, but everyone has seen Spirit spam Karthus, jungle Karthus. What happens here? Because Afreeca say, no Lee Sin for you, and SKT say, well, we're pretty sure it's jungle Karthus, but if it's not, how do we achieve both of our objectives?
You see they're thinking about it a lot as they eventually put their eggs in the Karthus jungle basket.
I can't believe they first rounded Karthus. This is Afreeca Freaks. Reminds me of when BBQ Olivers in the Casper Cup, you know, there were a lot of whispers about the Ivern comps coming out. SKT said, all right, no Ivern, and they just banned it the second round. Afreeca are like, all right, we're going to first round Karthus and work it out later. I could see Keen playing Karthus. I could see Aiming playing Karthus, and we know that Spirit will play Karthus.
I was calling for it. I didn't actually expect it, especially this early, but I suppose even Afreeca felt like it was so obvious Jace going to be banned as well here, kind of interesting. And Varus, Tom Kent in the bottom lane would mean that certainly the Karthus should go into the jungle.
What season is it for Varus, Tom Kent versus Ezreal Braum? Feels like nothing changed at all. But we're getting very, very standard duo lanes. I think SKT should just go for what works, which is strong jungler, strong lane, and then work out what Afreeca has and say, well, if we play the Archon swing condition, doesn't matter what rubbish the enemy is doing. That's what I prefer to do when you see something really out of the norm, like a Karthus first round, is let's make sure our comp's really good. So Xin Zhao and Xin, and you just have, say Xin Zhao and Victor, and you'd have a very standard comp that you can lane swap on. Ezreal Braum is very, very safe. I know it's boring on paper, but that's my first read on what to do in a scenario like this. SKT could also be bold, and the Fiora bold pick was very helpful in game number 1, but with the limited information they say, well, if you pick a strong jungler, Xin Zhao wins the skirmish most of the time, and if you pick a weak jungler, we're going to have a huge skirmish advantage.
Like the pick, Xin Zhao coming back here, no longer globally banned. Very, very strong early game jungler, and what will be picked here for Keen is the idea.
This would be a top lane Syndra or a just chase Victor wherever possible Syndra pick, because Syndra beats Victor, was played in the LPL in the Demacia Cup Championship. Instead, we see the GP and Spirit, who couldn't stop telling me about how much he was loving jungle Karthus at Kesper Cup. They finally found his spot. Apparently his first round, he's playing the Karthus.
And GP, something we always used to see in the past, seems like a very rare pick nowadays. Decides against any kind of tank matchup that Victor just gets a bajillion gold from Kleptomancy nowadays on and say, hey, we're going to build up our own gold piles here with our own gangplank.
Keen gets his own 5th pick. It's not quite Fiora when it comes to what the lanes look like, but basically his 2 options were copy the idea of Syndra versus Victor top lane. Syndra beat Victor in mid. It's the same in top lane, but of course the lane dynamics make it less reliable, and also your Syndra, an overextending champion against the Xin Zhao, that sounds bad. The jungler's not going to save you, it's a Karthus. He goes for the GP instead, who can farm it out, and they can make map plays with the Galio ult and Gangplank ult on the bot lane. So bot lane pressure onto Ezreal Braum. It doesn't sound like a perfect strategy, but definitely one that might be coming out here, as you can throw in so many globals to try to make Teddy and Mata accountable.
Always love the Xin Zhao. This time it is going to be for the side of Klid. Gets himself on another aggressive jungler. Excited to see how that goes, especially up against Karthus. Another fun jungle matchup, not in the aggro versus aggro way. But we'll have to wait and see if the lineup with the Karthus Afreeca, can they scale up? The GP Karthus will be fun to watch as we enter game 2 here. SKT up against Afreeca onto the Rift. Here we go, back onto the Rift. This time SKT blue, Afreeca red. And the first thing I notice is more Hail of Blades for the Xin Zhao on the side of Klid this time.
It is now the go-to keystone on a lot of champions. Again, Viper's Vayne and solo queue has now been copied basically entirely Hail of Blades after that was publicized. The jungle picks are the ones where you just weave so much more early damage on. Even when you just have a red smite, you do bonkers damage. Every auto attack, when the enemy has, you know, no cloth armors or health, is going to be relevant. And the damage calculations are already always about 150 damage off, it feels like, when it's Hail of Blades, and that's often enough for a kill. So I'm a big fan of the extra pressure it gives a jungler like Xin Zhao, who already has an auto attack cancel, to continue to abuse the mechanic chains on Hail of Blades on patch 9.1. Other keystone choices that are interesting, it's Respectful Klepto against the more defensive choice here, and we're also seeing why, as, hello, we've got a lane swap.
I like the Observer immediately swaps him around, really on the ball there, as they say, instead of Klepto versus Klepto, or, well, I guess it's not Klepto here, as you were mentioning, Keen just going to go up against the Urgot in the mid lane instead.
2 games in a row. If you missed our first series, we had Summit on Darius go mid lane to find the Scion, and I like the fact that Korean teams are feeling the flexibility more so than ever of not to stay in your lane. It's very much find your lane, and if it's top, if it's mid, deal with the geography difference and make the most of it. So the farm lane going to be very reliable for Keen in the mid lane against Urgot, and very little kill pressure because the oranges often make him K.
This was supposed to be Faker versus UCal and Keen versus Com, but the players are like, nah, let's mix it up. Let's just swap the lanes here a bit. You already got to see those aforementioned matchups in Game 1. Let's take a look in Game 2. As Clid over a ward, and Spirit, very respectful, says you can have my red if you want it. I'm Karthus.
You know, he did lock in Karthus, so the respectful part is definitely secondary to the pretty brazen first-round Karthus. He understands that he just can't afford to die. If he dies in this jungle, it's a terrible time.
It's lights out.
You'll notice Dark Harvest is the pickup, which is pretty much a Karthus-only rune is bot lane.
Oh boy, Jelly once again feeling the pain. Not quite able to weave in another Mystic shot. There was Teddy, but he was on the ropes. Very cool, calm, collected, though. Keeps all the summoners.
Spirit's level 3. The power farm is so real. Mid lane, Clid was actually considering flashing over the wall. That would have been aggressive.
He got level 3 from
his experience. He
yeah.
soaked up. That's actually really relevant here.
Yeah, he waited there and he just picked it up. And he's like, okay, now I can fight.
Clid's pretty good at understanding his scenario, and he understood that just sapping one minion would be enough. Patience here is so low on this red buff, but it should be claimed by Spirit.
Yeah,
he's level 4.
You got to have your top laner come on down just to protect you so you can pick up your buff. It's little sacrifices like that that could potentially make this jungle Karthus work. You see it sometimes in solo queue, and a guy just picks up Xin Zhao, and you know your Karthus is going to die a bajillion times, but
Valdes,
this time.
You know that Karthus clears the jungle fast, right? Everyone just says the bullet point play. Any analyst can say, wow, his clear speed's really fast. We know all about it, especially on single target camps, right, with your Q. Speaking of single target camps,
ganks?
How about his ganks? Well, unorthodox, Valdes.
I mean, he has red. He gets the Dark Harvest proc at least on his way to steal Raptors away from Clid, rather, it looks like.
I'll take your Raptors, kid, he says, as he steals away Clid's Raptors. He gets them down. The clear speed, again, the reason why I mentioned the boilerplate point is you have to see it and remember it to really believe it. You just motor down those camps instantly. If you remember when we saw the Jungle Karthus played by BBQ Olivers, by Malice in the Kesper Cup, he was 2 levels ahead, feeling like he had XP quints or something going on, and Spirit will have a very fast level 6, and one thing I want to draw your attention to, Valdes, it's triple teleport, which is becoming the norm, AD carry, mid laner, and top laner. That's no heals against what is going to be a very early level 6, and also the Cannon Barrage thrown in, the Galio ult sweeping in. The chances of getting kills bot side, because there's no summoner heal, do go up, and Teddy's going to have to be pretty proactive about when he chooses to back. You can't just use all your mana. You have to be topped up in health as well.
Yeah. It's a weird feel, but they have so much reach on kills. It's pretty insane.
It's just dirty. Dark Harvest, that dirty extra damage, right? Then there's Karthus ultimate. Then there's GP ultimate. The lethal range feels like it's bigger than ever before, and while one Dark Harvest stack is nothing to write home about, every time it adds up. The S word is one we avoid saying on this stream, the scaling word, and Karthus scaling needs no introduction.
I mean, imagine how much more range they would have if they had Galio in the mid lane just to hop on in onto bottom lane ganks or just helping out in general. I feel like it's kind of curious. They send the Galio up into the top side. Not sure what you think about that, Papa.
Something freak, you've got no mana. That's what I'm thinking right now. Watching Spirit, the dregs of the camps, able to power through it. Level 6 obtained at 6 minutes 10. That's pretty good timing. In the mid lane, Faker looking for a disdain there, but no flip onto Keen. Only really meaningful way he can interact with the lane.
Clid's on a ward, by the way, and just picked up more XP, it looked like. He's taking a lot of that as we go.
Keen, so far, quite rotund in this lane, not under too much pressure. Clid gets the information, the bad news about the ward, and we'll just power through. I'd like to think he was sapping more experience from his mid laner.
Well, he was doing both. We do have Infernal Drake here. TP comes into the bottom side. 4 members of SKT looking for it. Top laners do not have TP at this moment in time, so we'll be at most a 4v4 if any fights do break out.
Usually you think, okay, it's Karthus jungle, invade is blue. That's a very simple point. Actually, as SKT, almost as big an objective as taking the enemy blue or contesting it is get a global. Just get one of those ults used, and then you don't have to worry about them being min-maxed to get a single kill. They weren't able to get either. The blue buff is claimed by Spirit. Keen has no need to pick it up on Newcastle's top lane, so this lane status does continue the power farming for Spirit.
Certainly having a fun time so far, and Afreeca are just fine to sit back, try not to die, scale on up with the Karthus and the GP and even the Varus.
And you just know
scaling as well.
That Afreeca, scrimming with Spirit, I've probably put 30 games into Jungle Karthus because they have such an amount of scrims played. They play internal scrims, they take scrims with others, they just don't play solo queue because they see more merit in playing more competitive or competitive-like games. Jungle Karthus is really tricky to pull off. Again, load up, play it in solo queue. If you don't get invaded, best day of your life. You could probably get some LP. If you get invaded, if you die twice, game may be over. You're never able to get some fortunate assistance from your teammates. So because of that, enjoying the fact that so far Afreeca have been able to make Jungle Karthus look like a masterstroke in game number 2.
You were talking about clearing single target camps. Both of these teams would love an Infernal Drake at this point in time. And, aiming's going to be hit on the backside. Remember, he used his TP before when the invade was coming in. And so now he's in a really awkward spot as he got a little bit too close to the sun down there.
And the moment the Ezreal ult hits, it means no chance to contest the Infernal, and should be a freebie. Slowly soloed down by Clid. Again, an acceptable loss. You took Jungle Karthus, you made a bold choice. You didn't think you could also get Infernal Drakes, so you definitely didn't want to see that spawn if you were Afreeca Freaks. Infernal slowly going down to Clid, and Spirit just goes back to his top side and says, well, I'll take two camps and reevaluate.
Maybe even get on into your enemy jungle as pings are going on the blue side. Are actually going to have a trade here in the mid lane. Keen forced to blow that global you were talking about. Lands that one, but the timer's not long enough. And Clid, unfortunately, there's the Karthus ultimate. They thought that last tower shot was going to land. And if it did, Clid was most likely dead on the backside, but kind of unlucky there, and now Mata forced to come in and save his teammates.
Yeah, the extra damage of the turret shot, the Dark Harvest proc, and also the Requiem probably would have killed him, but the mid-flight turret shot doesn't register because of the Xinjia ultimate. So yeah, the timing there. The only difference between that likely kill. Understood there, the Keen, because the ult had timed out from Faker, there was no way actually to get it to arm after the flash from Clid. So a rare miscalculation on both sides, and all we can really talk about is a turret plating going to the side of Afreeca Freaks.
Well, at least we had some action in this game. SKT certainly looking for some action with that Xinjia. We'll take another look here at the fight.
Let's watch the replay here for the damage calculation. Now, the turret doesn't actually get repelled by the Xenos. Let's watch exactly what the full calculation is here. The next shot's coming in. If it had gone down before the Q, so that's what we should have been talking about, the Q there, then that would have been the difference between the kill coming in and not. Be pretty overpowered if Xin could block turret shots. But in the end, calculations are off on both sides, and that means a couple of summoners, importantly Clid's flash, are on cooldown.
Nice try, at least trying to get some kind of kill onto the Rift. So far it's just been passivity from the side of Afreeca, and they're very happy with that, as we mentioned before. Just chilling here as Keen farming up very happily in the mid lane, doing slightly better than Faker so far.
Always fun to see Varus and Ezreal opening up, always waiting to see who will pull the trigger finger on something like the Chains of Corruption. Heal is worn on Mata, you'll notice, whereas the teleport, as we mentioned, is there on Teddy. Very important to try to get them through this laning phase. First Requiem, not successful in every long cooldown ability. We always inspect very closely when it comes to early effectiveness. Around the same time, Cannon Barrage available again. Let's see if they can actually set up this bot lane play we alluded to, try to get something out of those cooldowns.
Khan getting into it up in the top side. You see him blow his ultimate. Not sure if that was actually reaching for the kill, as Galio still has his flash, or just trying to help on the push.
Pretty sure it was Doinby-esque when it comes to pushing in a minion wave. Very hard to freeze against a Victor between E and R. He'll find a way to push your minions. But that does mean that Glid can transfer the good pressure he had bot side to a top side objective, but this is one that Spirit doesn't have to leave for free. He can just fish for some vision with his W, but Faker walking out makes it very difficult to contest this objective.
Well, it comes down, Spirit can get a little bit more aggressive. If he lands a couple Qs, we could see something happen. Fight in the bottom side at the same time. Aiming getting pretty low. Stun comes in, but Faker picks up the Karthus, who is going to ultimate on the backside to take out Klid at least. Looks like SKT do get the Rift Herald. Faker trying to slip on in there and pick up the buff, but it looks like Afreeca might be able to zone them out for now.
Now, this time is really long, and Faker has first access to the minion wave, so will Keen give up multiple minions to make this happen? The answer is yes.
Yeah, Faker's backing too.
It's about 25 seconds, I feel. I don't know the actual number on how long the eye stays, but it's much longer than you first think.
Yeah.
Is there a long time?
We'll still wait. TPs are coming in as UCal wants to taunt them away from it. Oh, there's the taunt, but he picks it up. Khan, just barely, it feels like, towards the end, right before it expires, picks up the Rift Herald for that top lane.
And that makes it all worth it in the end, Valdez, even though another Dark Harvest stack and actually 2 Dark Seal stacks go the way of the Karthus. We'll watch the bot side to begin this. It's a bit of aggression on both sides. I think everyone's map watching a little bit as this play happens. That's why both sides trade a lot of damage. See if there was any further blood on the bottom side. I don't believe anyone went down.
Yeah.
But cool little trades there. Very competitive between the duo lanes. As top side, we missed Faker actually getting the kill onto Spirit. One of the plays here. Oh, arms in case of doubt. He can't get any value out of the fear, but the answering kill does come onto Klid.
Yeah, the Karthus, he's good at farming. He'd love to scale up, but we're kind of in this wonky early to mid stage where it's not 5-on-5 yet, and suiciding isn't really the best option. He would love to live, but Xinjiao and Urgot going to immediately just pounce on you. And, well, here come the Qs. If he can land them, one. There's the Varus ultimate, and see you later, Spirit. Able to pick that one up, and now aiming just way too low. Gets burst on down. Jelly also in a really bad spot here. He's going to also bite the dust. A double kill for Teddy on the Ezreal on the back of that one.
Really smart map cut there from Faker. He knew they could control the bot side of the pit, and there's no exit route for Afreeca after they flash and use the ultimate of the Varus, the Chains of Corruption flash. Meant there was no way out, and now they want more here, SKT.
Faker just scuttling his way on in. They're going to burst down that Karthus. Doesn't do much. Has the Requiem. Not even going to use it here. Faker, though. No, it's not enough time. The flash forward.
Oh, got him!
Kill the bloodthirsty support. Comes on in. Mana picks up the gangplank for an extra kill on the backside.
There's nothing more satisfying than fissuring someone to death. It's only about 150 damage, but it's all he needed. The snipe there is going to be the cherry on top. They back away to an Ocean Drake, and suddenly SKT, the plan's coming together.
Well, you feel like that pocket pick of the Karthus and the GP and all the scaling could potentially get Afreeca into this game. They pick up the kill here at first, but then it turns on its head.
It's all good until the flash hit, because then Faker says, hey, if I walk down, there's no way out for these guys. And he's right. There's the ability of Teddy to use terrain to just rain down damage, his R and his Q. Very consequential at the start. Then Jelly's out of position. We zoom forward to this moment. Spirit's try to contest. Well, you ain't got no flash, buddy. You're going to go down quickly. And in the late game, you look at Karthus and say, hey, SKT has a mid-range threat comp. Karthus' Defile is going to do wombo damage. We're not in the late game yet, Valdez. And if they continue to play around side, you can hear how good Mata feels after the Glacial Fissure kill. If they can continue to play this game at a high pace, and turret dives at 14 minutes are the definition of a high pace, it doesn't matter how good Karthus is against SKT's comp if he never gets the items to wield.
It's very true, and you can see SKT getting real pumped up there, Mata as well. Everybody shouting nice as they pick that one up, and well, they should feel pretty nice about it. Khan here looking again for just some nice trades up against UCal, being annoying. But things feel really good. The Victors online had that really nice Galio matchup. Your Urgot and your Ezreal are doing stuff, and UCal just caught underneath the turret. Khan is also going to have his own little stopwatch from earlier on. Dodges that Karthus ultimate. Definitely the best way to get out of all that damage is some stasis, and well, that's a couple of stopwatches now. They're going to save people's lives.
And there's really no silver lining. In a different game, you say, all right, they won't have another stopwatch later, but Zhonya's will come up. And this game doesn't look like it's going to get to late. Jelly needs to get the Devour. He's not going to get it yet.
Oh, he's not on the wall. He was actually there, but then he moved away.
The pathing there of both of them, they couldn't min-max it there, and unfortunately, it's another kill. And SKT are in win more territory. Keep using your stasis, keep being proactive, and it doesn't matter where if we can get on paper, because right now the paper's being ripped up, and it's being rewritten by SKT.
And these guys playing so well, and now Faker looking for a solo kill. Gets a little bit of help from his friend in the jungle, but it just feels like the landslide has started, and it's not going to stop anytime soon, Papa.
Afreeca Freaks are one more than 1 foot in the grave. It feels like we're 1.5 feet. That's not a good sign, Valdez. Right now, 6 feet under territory. Almost confirmed for them. There's light at the end of the tunnel, but this tunnel is SK Telecom T1's territory. It's all about pathing here. Aiming can't actually, because he's body blocked, get there, and then it's the ult Valdez that knocks him further away. So between those two things, the body block into the Xin Zhao ultimate, no Devour over the wall, no life for the Varus.
And that's what I like to call the death corner in solo queue. People get caught there all the time when they're behind on red side. All the time. You're trying to go from bot to mid, mid to bot, and they have a ward in there, they're going to spot you and they're going to corner you. And, well, happens here in pro play as well. And Spirit now absolutely can't get on top of his blue buff, has to give that away as well.
Control is basically paramount for SKT. They have everything on the map, and now all the little pieces are really coming together for the side of SKT. Remember, we talked about how do you get away with this teleport so risky. That's also pieced together that it's heal Guardian Braum for the most kind of extra health you can provide someone outside of, say, a Soraka. The moment you've locked in the Braum, you're able to give so much to your Ezreal through the Guardian proc and the heal, giving you, what, 300, 350, maybe 400 as the game goes on. Extra health in the kind of early to mid-game phase. That's enough that the Karthus ultimate probably won't pick up the kill. We never saw them even be able to get any sort of wombo in the bot side to try to shut down Teddy. And, you know, we were coming up with names of premium Teddy bands for a reason. This guy has been solid gold so far between Kesper Cup and also the LCK. 600 bounty already being won by Clid and Teddy. To me, the two best performers so far for the SK Telecom T1 and Dream Team lineup.
Yeah.
And Afreeca Freaks, there's still the scaling word being said. There's still a keep your wards down, keep farming. And that is true. But SKT in today's form, given the Vision Masterclass that won them game number 1, I can't see them giving another 20 minutes of farming to the side of Afreeca.
Yeah, it certainly doesn't feel that way. They're not going to, you know, be the team that wavers and hesitates around objectives. SKT look like they're firing on all levels right now and looking really, really fantastic. We'll see where they do move from here. Always Khan will just continue pushing in, and he's in a little bit of trouble here. Khan tries to flash out of that one, but is going to be burst down. Clid, unfortunately, roped into trying to help him out. Not quite able to do that. Now a fight in the top side. Faker, uh-oh, he's got a shield. It is going to block that entire Karthus ultimate, though.
Teddy?
And now Teddy, okay. We start giving them some praise, and all of a sudden SKT getting caught, but at least they're going to take down an inner turret.
Teddy playing with fire a little bit, but it's actually to distract the members under turret, while in the mid lane, a duo came
Teddy,
in.
Oh boy! Spirit has to flash out of
Double
that
flash.
one.
They got the flash on Devour out of Jelly as well. He got the absolute maximum.
It's like, how dare you try to cue me, Karthus?
Kane
looking for the snipe, and Spirit's not going to get it. And Teddy, he's still alive. He's still kiting them. He's going to take out Kane. You mentioned solid gold. This guy, he's going to platinum. He finally goes down, but oh man, makes something out of absolutely nothing. Picks up another kill on the backside. Teddy, oh man.
Masterful baiting coming through on that one, and the Winions are the only ones who can take him down. Thanks, Mr. Ranged Minion. I needed the assistance, said Yukal, who got the kill credit. Now there's 3 members, and the Gargoyle, he's only so tanky.
What is happening in this game? It's people getting caught over and over. It's devolved into madness. It feels like as double TP comes in from SKT. They get a kill, and now maybe another one as Spirit. That's a victor on you. You're going to get stunned. Give the kill over to Faker. He'll be happy to steal that one up As 2 more kills now to SKT, they're looking at Baron.
But in another game, you look at the interaction there and say, man, Karthus Grave in the middle of the enemy team, that could win a team fight. Not here in this game with how far ahead SKT are. They're on to Baron, but they're certainly being mindful of a turn. Faker doesn't have Smite, he can't switch over to it, but look how far Afreeca have to respect this, and we know the Smite is on cooldown. I think he's going to finish it.
Faker just looking for more kills as he's just going to zone him out. Doesn't have the most vision in there. He's really tanky. Gangplank doesn't do anything. But there's the Baron going over to the side of SKT. Very easy after picking up the 2 kills.
Man, this has been a really fun game. The moment the Karthus came in the first round, we knew we were getting some sort of fiesta. But it's been a fun fiesta in this case. And it's been also SKT not erring towards the spirit of that word. Fiesta usually means, well, don't think about it too much. We're having fun. A popcorn movie. A Pirates of the Caribbean movie, if you will. I think overall SKT have been really intelligent, and even though we saw Teddy Arcane Shift Q and then take a Defile and almost die, lay waste and almost die towards the inner turret bot lane, it was all in service of a push in the mid lane and then a really good extended kite where you got even more members. And on the backside of the individual moments, Drakes are going down, Barons are going down, everything's coming up. SK Telecom T1 feels like 2018 is a long time ago for some teams and very recent for others. When it comes for SKT, their fans don't want to remember 2018, and for good reason.
Things have turned around for them, no doubt. They've turned the page to the new chapter of SKT. They're not the laughing stock of LCK anymore. They are the dream team.
What does the last bit of that page say, that 2019 SKT?
I wish I could see the future, Papa. It's looking good, though. I took a little peek, as you can kind of see. Faker trying to get zoned actually by 3 members, nearly takes out Keen on the backside. He's somehow still alive 1v5. As Faker is going to get taken out there on the backside, but Spirit eats a bunch of damage. SKT just zoning with Baron, looking at 2 inhibitors in mid and bots.
And usually when you see 5 people against an enemy Baron rush at Faker and take him down, it's because Faker knows that around the map, SKT are getting everything. And his life, while it might make one person feel good, it might be a statistic that, oh yes, I took down Faker once in professional play. It's all in service of SKT, growing their lead, breaking up the base in 2 spots, and they want some kills.
Well, here it comes to Requiem early. He's not able to do anything as Yucal desperately wants a kill in this game. He's not going to get it as a second one goes to Teddy. That should be all but lights out. Game 1 looking to be even faster than Game 2.
SKT look on another level just like Griffin did yesterday. Mouth-watering is that matchup, but for this one where Afreeca come as the last team to debut, they got things to work on. Maybe the Karthus on the shelf, and maybe the Karthus in the death chamber.
Well, they have a lot of damage. It is a very one-sided game at this point. And there it is, guys. SKT, the easy 2-0 over Afreeca tonight, looking on a